Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GinJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Thursday, March 14th. The dust has settled here a little bit in free agency for the Jaguars and the rest of the league. Obviously, we all know the news by now. Calvin Ridley is moving on to the Tennessee Titans. They dropped a massive bag for Calvin Ridley, Jaguars' arch nemesis. Very unfortunate. But the Jaguars did sign a bunch of new guys, a bunch of free agents that are coming in. And so I'm going to go back and check the tape and walk y'all through if these signings were good or not, right? If these signings are going to help the Jaguars win more football games in 2024 and beyond. We're going to start with center Mitch Morse. We'll talk about what he brings on the field, the value of the contract, the fit with the team, and then we'll land on a grade for the signing. Mitch Morse, he's listed at 6'5" and 305 pounds. He's 31 years old, soon to be 32, so he is up there in age, but does not look like he's fallen off a cliff at all based on his play on the field. He's started every game that he's played in his career. Over the past 5 years, he's missed a total of like 6 or 7 games, so he's been very durable for the Buffalo Bills. Started his career as a second-round pick for the Chiefs in 2015, where Doug Peterson was his offensive coordinator, and he talked about in his introductory press conference that was a big part of the reason he wanted to come to Jacksonville to play for Doug Peterson again, to be in a Doug Peterson offense. He went to Buffalo after that in 2018, and those have been his only 2 stops. So he's been a guy that's really stuck around for the most part. I think the Chiefs only really let him go because of cap issues, cap concerns, if you will. Looking at him on the field, compared to Luke Fortner, who was the Jaguars starting center the last couple years, it really is night and day. In pass protection, he reads games, stunts, blitzes extremely well. He can move from one target to the next without any sort of mental hiccups, right? He's strong and he's stout throughout his frame. He has a very good anchor, so he can withstand bull rushes much better than Luke Fortner could. He has good hand placement in pass pro as well. Even though he's tall for the center position, 6'5", he is pretty flexible, which allows him to bend a little bit, get leverage, again, anchor down, and kind of stall out interior defensive linemen that are trying to penetrate the pocket, get into the backfield. His hands do have some shock value. Once he gets those mitts on you, you feel it. Like you see some guys move when he strikes you with 2 hands. So you love that. Moves very well laterally. He's a great athlete, even at his age, soon to be 32 years old. Does not look like he's slowing down at all. I know it's been a while since he was drafted, but if you go back and look at his testing numbers coming into the league compared to other interior offensive linemen, 96th percentile bench press, 90th percentile short shuttle, 74th percentile 3-cone, 94th percentile broad jump, 82nd percentile vert, 78th percentile 40-yard dash. So again, this guy is a great athlete at the center position, and that's compared to guards as well. It's not just centers. It's all interior offensive linemen. Moves very well to the second level, usually gets enough contact to disrupt linebackers, occasionally absolutely stops them in their tracks, and they just have nowhere to go. So you like that. Not a road grader necessarily at the point of attack in the run game. He's not going to blow guys off the line as much as some other guys will. Maybe a Jackson Powers Johnson when you look at him in the draft. But he does get the job done for the most part in the run game. This is a very good center based on what I've seen, based on what I've watched over the last couple of days here. Looking at the contract, 2 years, $10.5 million, a cap hit of $2.65 million in 2024. He's the 17th highest paid center in terms of average annual value. Total value of the contract, he's 21st. I don't think there are 15 better centers in the game right now, personally, much less 21, especially in a Doug Peterson offense. The cap hits are so small here. I think the value of this contract is excellent, especially when you're talking about a guy, obviously, is a little bit older, but bringing in an unrestricted free agent, bringing him in at that value to me is excellent. You look at all the other unrestricted free agent centers that were, decent to good starters, they got a lot more than Mitch Morse did. In terms of his fit with the team, any upgrade at center would have been a good thing, and that would not have been hard to achieve, upgrading at center over what Luke Fortner gave you in 2023. Morse is a scheme fit in this offense with his athleticism. He is a massive upgrade over Luke Fortner. He's a leader. He's been durable. I think this is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Jaguars at center, and he will help out Brandon Sheriff and Ezra Cleveland a lot more than Luke Fortner did. I think that he was a net negative, obviously, for those two guys at guard. I think Morse will be a positive for them. He doesn't count against the comp pick formula, which is good because he was released by the Buffalo Bills. You talk about, okay, why was he released? He was released because the Bills were in cap hell. They had kind of pushed their chips in for the last couple years, and the tax came due, and they had to make some adjustments. They had to make some moves, and they made decisions. One of them was to let Mitch Morse go and get cheaper and younger along their offensive line. Does that make their offensive line better? In my opinion, no, it does not. Mitch Morse was a very good player for the Buffalo Bills. He might be an even better fit for the Jaguars, though. But the Jaguars signed too many guys that do count against the 2025 comp pick formula at this point to earn any comp picks. If there are some unrestricted free agents for the Jaguars that sign elsewhere, that could change. We'll see how it plays out. But as of right now, the Jaguars don't look like they're in line to get any comp picks, which I don't think you need to necessarily be making moves based on the comp pick formula. I think you want to just add good players and good value where you can. So not a big deal. The Jaguars do have 2 comp picks this year. But looking at Mitch Morse, very good player. I think he's good in pass protection. I think in the run game, he can definitely do a lot for you. Again, not going to necessarily be a people mover at the point of attack, but his athleticism allows him to get out in space and block for you a lot better than Luke Fortner did. And again, Luke Fortner, I feel bad for the kid a little bit because he clearly was in over his head last year. And I think Doug Peterson alluded to that a little bit, that it kind of got a little bit overwhelming for him at a point. Just going against so many good interior defensive linemen and struggling, and then it catches up to you as a young player. And he's obviously an older second-year player in 2023, now a third-year player going into 2024, but still inexperienced at the NFL level overall. A guy that struggled greatly. And Mitch Morse is not going to struggle that way. He has been there. He has done that. He has played against a ton of good interior defensive linemen. He can handle one-on-one blocks. He can double team. Again, he can move to the second level. He can move laterally. So he can do a lot of different things in this offensive line, in this offensive system that Luke Fortner just could not do for you. He's a leader. He's been a captain for the Buffalo Bills. He's been very durable. Was the Jaguars' biggest position of need? Center was. No doubt about it. Like, you could point at other spots, but center was the one position that held the Jaguars back the most in 2023. And now you have someone who gives you plus value at that position. For me, this signing is an A. He's not a long-term answer necessarily, although I don't see him slowing down at all based on the film evaluation. I think he's moving extremely well. I don't think that he's been dealing with a lot of injury concerns. So as of right now, I don't think he's about to fall off a cliff. We'll see how it plays out for him. But I think Mitch Morse was a fantastic signing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we will go over a lot of the other big-time free agents that they signed, do the same exercise for each of those guys. And obviously stay tuned for any more free agent updates. I don't necessarily think the Jaguars are going to be done with free agency. They could still use another receiver. They could still use interior defensive line help, edge help. So we'll see how it all plays out moving forward here. But I really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.